Hi YouTube, welcome back to Wtf Rc Cars. So as you can tell from the thumbnail, we have the Egress Black Edition finished. Now what I'm going to do is a quick video showing you how I set up the NB4 with the FGR4B receiver. So we'll get that set up, and there's a few little changes that I've made. So I'm still using the same metal servo arm, but I've moved the ball joint to the other side. It is at a bit of an angle, but it doesn't catch with anything. It doesn't catch on the drive shaft, and it also doesn't come anywhere near any of the carbon chassis deck. So that seems to fit better. And I went down a bit of a different route from the standard spray jobs that you've seen on it. So I really like it. I've shown it a few people and they really like it, but I'll put some B-roll shots in of it and you'll have to tell me what you think. In certain lights it does look gunmetal grey, but it's really not. But let's bring you in for a close-up look and show you how we set everything up on it. Right, so first thing we're going to have to do is choose a new model memory. So you can just go into your list, pick one that you want to use. So I'm going to use one that's not set up for anything at the moment. Then we want to back out of it once you're in that model memory. Just in case you've had anything set up, I'd do a reset. That'll fully reset everything to standard. Next, we're going to have to give it a name. So we'll add this one as the Egress Black. Then you press enter. Then you want to set your channel number definitions. Make sure that's on 4. Then we're going to have a look at radio frequency setup. We want this on 2-way, so we get telemetry back. Then we can come out of that menu. You want to go into your RX set. We're going to look at servo frequency. I'm going to have everything set to digital because I'm pretty sure that the servo and the ESC is all happy running at this. Then we can come out of it. We want to go to bind set. We want it set as enhanced. So we want to press and hold the bind button, then power up the RC, and you should be able to see the light flashing. Then we start bind. We've got it all bound up. Next thing you want to do is go to your servo reverse. So as steering, we need to reverse that. So that's good. Then we want to try as throttle. So we've got it set to forward and brake. So that doesn't need reversing, that's fine. So we can come out of that. Then we want to set our endpoints. So we can go on to a steering. And you can see it's trying to turn too far. So we need to back these down. And it just looks like it's trying to pull a little too much at that. So then we'll turn the other side down. And you can see it's still trying to pull too much. So what I like to do, especially on this one, because this one's got the actual little stops on both of them. So when I've got it somewhere close, I'll then go into a sub trim. And let's make sure as steering is as straight as I can get it. Then I'll go back to my endpoints and I'll recheck. So we've got a steering set up nicely there. Then we can drop back out of that menu. See what I mean about these servos being crazy fast for a 30 odd quid servo? Then you can calibrate your ESC. So if you turn it off, turn it on with the button held down. So it'll beep, you leave everything in the neutral position. Tap the button, full throttle. Tap the button, full brake. Tap the button. Then full throttle and full brake will give you a solid LED. And you can see the one-way torque splitter or one-way diff in action there. But basically, this is now all set. We've got as voltage of the transmitter. We've got as BEC voltage showing. If you really wanted to, you could also add the battery voltage detection cable into the LiPo balance lead, and then also on the screen you can have your LiPo pack voltage. It's not really a concern on this because the ESC has got voltage detection on it, so you're not going to drain your LiPo. But on here you can see how I've put the steering on, and you can also get a close-up picture. These are the two that it said use the lock nuts, but it didn't come with them. So I've put the washers and a nut on and then thread locked it. But yeah, it is a really nice RC. And this servo is crazy fast. But let's wrap this one up. So, a few things that I've done on this since the last video. I've obviously built the spoiler up because we painted it, and there's just 2 screws going either side, and these are the tiny screws with tiny lock nuts, and the washer goes to outside. You've got the 2 little buttons washers that go in the spoiler with the 2 screws. Then one thing I would suggest doing is bend these little clips up on the end, because it makes your life a lot easier. If you do fit the Velcro, I'm not entirely certain that you need the pins in front and back. We don't tend to run them like that on race RCs because it's easier to just whip the body off. So the last thing we're going to need to do is fit the belly pan. So I've put Velcro running all the way down both sides on the belly pan. So on painting this, I have used the Tamiya gunmetal, but I've also used the Tamiya purple and green flip as the sort of first coat for it, and I really love the way that it tends to look just gunmetal grey until the light hits it. But to fit this, let's power the RC off. I'm going to take this LiPo out because I use it for racing the TT02s, and I'll be wondering where I've put it. The battery system on these is incredibly easy to get battery in and out of, and one of the reasons I like using the 1080s, this is the Gen 1, but you don't need a cooling fan on them. You can do, especially on the Gen 2, if you want to use it, you can. But let's get the RC off the stand. So we need to fit the under tray, and I know a lot of people decide not to paint these because you can see the carbon through it, but I just wanted to have it matching the top. So this goes over the 2 pins on the chassis at the front, and then you line it up with the one on the back. And this is why I say I recommend just bending these up a little. It does make them easier to clip on. So we need to do one on the front on either side, and then just one on the back. And then it protects all the underside at chassis. And as you can see, I've just got Velcro running down either side. I'm also really glad I chose a receiver with the antenna wire running through it. The body I've painted up in exactly the same in flip paint, and then for the windows I've actually sprayed these Tamiya clear blue, because I think it looks better than the actual stickers, and stickers tend to peel off, especially when they go in over all the ridges around the windows. And I just prefer this blue to the blue that comes in kit on stickers. All the ESC and everything I've got stuck in using the 3M grip tape. It's basically just like Velcro on steroids, but it does mean I can just quickly clip everything out and just fasten it back in should I need to remove it. And I'm really glad I went with a receiver with an antenna, because it kind of just suits the sort of age appropriate for this kit. But as you can see with the Velcro on, it does stick on really, really good. So it's entirely up to you then if you also want to use the clips. The front one definitely is a bit awkward to get in, but that's why I've put a sticker before and behind it. But yeah, really, really enjoyed building this kit. I do think the Velcro is definitely a bonus that it comes with it, and it's really sticky Velcro. The suspension is fantastic, but for me the enjoyment of this one is building it. I mean, the kit, it does look absolutely stunning when it's finished, and it's really weird because from my side of the camera this car looks green, and I can see in the monitor that it actually looks more pink or purple, and then again in other lights it looks completely gunmetal. So I'm really, really happy with how this come out. But I've tried to get some shots of it outside to give you an idea of what it's like with the flip, because it doesn't show up brilliant inside on camera. So let's have a quick look at what the finished car looks like. There you have it, the Tamiya Egress Black Edition. Fantastic car to build. The diffs feel absolutely beautiful. I love the fact that you can build it with either the fixed or the sort of split torque splitter with one-way bearing. So you can brake with the rear wheels and then accelerate four-wheel drive. The ground clearance has really surprised me on it. And I know I've seen a lot of videos where people say it's not as good a deal as buying the Avante, but there is a reason Tamiya brought this out. The laid down shocks of the Avante never really worked. So if you lay a shock down, it gets weaker and weaker to the point that they laid down so far that you'd have to have really strong springs, and at that point you end up with not really good working suspension. And there really is only one geometry that this kind of rear suspension works with, and all the metal parts on it kind of ended up making the car that didn't handle really good, really heavy. So there was a reason for the changes that Tamiya made with this. You ended up with a far better handling RC. But that said, they are going to be re-releasing the Avante this year to what I've heard, and I just find it nice to have a matching pair of them, so I probably will end up picking that up and on. But yeah, great fun to build. Really, really enjoyed it. Really nice looking RC, and maybe this colour scheme's not to everybody's taste, but I like my cars to look a bit different, and everyone I've seen has either been painted black or gunmetal grey. So I just fancied something that were a bit of a change. The 1080 ESC and the 10-turn motor is a great mix for this RC. I know a few people were disappointed that it didn't come with a motor, but generally the Tamiya motors are a bit naff anyway. And the speed controllers, even the 1061 is not brilliant with the settings what you've got on it. The 1080 is a far better one, and you're not talking crazy money for this motor and ESC setup, but it is far better suited to this car than the stock Tamiya parts. That said, if I get an Egress and it comes with a motor, I'll probably just build it with that, because I'm not intending on running these RCs at all. I just want them functional, so if I want to drive it I can, but it's definitely not one that I'm going to be blasting up and down the street, because if you flip it and you're going to destroy this shock tower, you're going to wreck the gorgeous body and these shocks. So if I do run it, it'll be on an indoor track somewhere where it's relatively safe. But hopefully you've enjoyed this build series as much as I've enjoyed building this car. Don't forget to like and subscribe, share to friends and family, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned for some other crazy builds that we've got coming up. Thanks again for watching Wtf Rc Cars, and catch you guys again in the next one.